So in this video, we're going to compare and contrast the federal and private student loans, okay? As we've talked about before, with federal loans, you always want to start there, okay? And there's 11 reasons in this document that will help you understand that you need to start with federal loans. But a lot of times, federal loans aren't going to be enough to cover the total cost of your education. So when that becomes the case, then you're going to have to take out private loans to cover the rest of the balance, okay? So, and again, in this video, we're going to talk about 11 different ways that federal loans differ from private loans, okay? So first is in repayment. In most cases, you're not going to have to start repaying your federal loans until after you graduate, okay? Or at the very least, until you change your enrollment to less than half time, okay? With private loans, a lot of times you're going to have to start making payments while you're in school. So that's a huge difference when it comes to repayment. Interest rates, we've talked about this before. The interest rate on the federal loans is oftentimes lower. Okay, the private student loans can have variable rates. They're often going to have higher rates, and sometimes the rates can be greater than 18%. So you're talking almost like credit card type of interest rates for some of these private loans. Okay, subsidized loans. So remember, we talked about direct subsidized loans on the federal side. Okay, undergrad students with financial need can qualify for those. Okay, private student loans are not going to be subsidized. You're going to be the one paying the interest, and that starts kicking in just as soon as you take out the loan. Your credit score. Okay, with the federal loans, you're not going to have to get a credit check if you qualify for the loans in terms of need for subsidized loans, or if you're taking out unsubsidized loans, they're not going to check your credit for that. With the private loans, your credit record will matter. The interest rate will be tied to your credit score in many cases, and there will be some other factors that we're going to talk about a little bit lower in this document that could be factors in whether or not you qualify for those loans. Okay, a cosigner. With the federal loans, you're not going to need a cosigner. Okay, with private loans, you may, depending on your credit score, you may need a cosigner. This could be, a family member or a friend, but just as soon as they cosign, remember, they're responsible for that debt just as much as you are, okay? So there are a lot of people that are not going to want to cosign loans for you, so you need to be aware of that, okay? Tax deductible, okay? Interest may be tax deductible on the federal loans, okay? So you can take that tax deduction. Oftentimes, many times, the interest on a private loan is not going to be tax deductible, all right? Payment options, all right? You're going to have a lot of payment options in many cases with the federal loans. If you think about the pandemic that we're going through currently, a lot of people have had their payments halted. They don't have to make payments. The interest is not accruing at this time, okay? With private student loans, that might not be an option. Those people with private student loans are probably still making payments in many cases. Okay, there are other payment options as well, and once you have your loans, you'll need to look those up and see what those are. Okay, repayment plans. There are several repayment plans, including options to tie your monthly income to your payment. Okay, those are called like income-driven payment plans. Okay, with your private loans, you're going to have to check into what the repayment options are. Okay. Penalties if you pay before the time the loan comes due. With federal loans, there is no prepayment penalty fee. And with some private loans, you will have some fees. You're going to need to look that up if you want to pay the loan off early. Okay, loan forgiveness programs. With a lot of the federal loans, you may be eligible to receive some of your loans forgiven if you're working in public service. Okay, think about a doctor or a dentist who's working in a public health clinic. If they work for that public clinic long enough, some of their loans may be forgiven, okay? If you have private loans, it's not likely to be the case, okay? And assistance, there's free help available at aid.gov, which is where this document comes from. You can call the 1-800 number here. With your private loans, there is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau that you can look into, and they may be able to assist you if you have questions or concerns, okay? So those are the 11 primary differences between federal loans and private loans to help you pay for your education.